Welcome to this video where we will cover the functionality of our dashboard, namely the reporting features. This video flows on from our last video, which covered charting softball games and bullpen practices via chartIT app. Firstly, you need to get to our login page in order to access our dashboard. The website for that is dashboard.chartitapp.com/login. Alternatively, via our website, there is a login option at the top right. Our website is www.chartitapp.com. Once you're here, use the same username or email address and password to log in as you used with the app, and it will initially land you on the dashboard page of your personal tenancy. Utilizing the top right drop-down, I'm going to change over to my chartIT demo tenancy. I spoke a little bit more about tenancies in the original video, but essentially you can access multiple teams from within the one login. We have access to our database just like we do in the app. We have a list of our teams. Within this view, you can also see how many players there are within each team. I personally like to use this aspect of our database within the dashboard when I'm setting up multiple teams or players. I just find it easier to use a full keyboard than on a tablet, but the app and the tablet work perfectly fine to create teams and players also. We also have a Games tab. This shows all the games that you've charted via the chartIT app. The other functionality that also exists in here is the ability to export games to other chartIT users. This functionality exists only for gold users, and essentially you would choose the games you want to export, click the button, put in an email address of another gold chartIT user, and this would send them an email with a link. They can either click on the link or copy paste it into this import button to ensure they get it into their correct tenancy. If you're not sure what subscription access you have, up here there is a little gold trophy shown on mine, which means I have gold access in my chartIT demo tenancy. We've allowed users to use their highest ranking subscription level from across each of their tenancies for all of their tenancies. So therefore, if I only had silver within my personal one, the gold that I have in chartIT demo would outrank that and give me gold feature access under my personal tenancy also. You can delete games from this screen. And then lastly, we also have a Players tab, which works similar to accessing players via your team screen. You can click on them, edit players. You can merge multiple players also. If you accidentally set up the same player twice, you end up with games or data saved under each of them. Just like in the app, first name, surname, jersey number. The jersey number is required for each team that they are linked to in case they have different jersey numbers per team. Batting and throwing hand, and then if they're a pitcher like Lisette, obviously you can turn on which pitches they have the ability to throw, and this shortens your pitch type list in your game entry screen. Filter. So this is where you would initially kind of play with your data that you've gained out of the games that you have charted. To give you a quick rundown of the screen, you are looking at your strike zone and what will be your spray chart field on the right-hand side. The strike zone currently only shows from a catcher's perspective. We only recently added in the toggle functionality to be able to flip between pitcher-catcher view in the app, and that functionality is yet to be released in our reporting dashboard, but is coming soon. We also have this legend on the bottom left, which once you see some pitches come through, the colors correlate to the pitch outcome. So purple are swings and misses, black is ball, blue is a called strike by the umpire, red is foul, green is anything hit fair. Under filter selection, you can activate all of the different filters that we have. So I'm going to pull them all through so we can run through them quickly to give you a full understanding of the ability within our reporting. So batter run, you can filter based on which base the batter ends up reaching during the at-bat or following making contact with the ball. Batter is the ability to pick a batter, multiple batters, whichever you choose. Batting hand, I often use this when I'm analysing from a pitcher's perspective. I can show only left-handed hitters or only right-handed hitters. The default value is both. Bullpen, we can chart bullpen practices and we can choose to include that data or to only show our bullpen practices. The default is without bullpen. Count, we have the ability to filter based on the before the pitch count and the after the pitch count. So if I pull through, let's pick one batter so it's not quite so busy, I could now filter to everything on a 1 and 0 count, and it would show this. I could also add in a 2 and 0 count, and it would show these as well as the colours that I mentioned are showing up in this strike zone. The letters correlate to the pitch type. They're fairly logical. R for rise, S for screw, C for curve, D for drop, F for fastball, triangle is change, O for off speed, and then the colours as we already talked about. Just like I just filtered for before, I can clear that and I can filter for after the pitch. So show me all the pitches she threw to get to an 0-2 count, or sorry, this hitter faced, because we're looking at a batter, to get to the 0-2 count. We can also use the asterisks to do a bit of a wild card. So in this scenario, I'm essentially filtering for pitches that she's striking out on, because the 3 strikes signifies that was the strikeout. The other one to look at might be what pitch is she getting walked on, for instance. So that asterisk functionality can be quite handy. Date range, you might end up with games spanning multiple weeks, months, years, so you can cull down that date range. Errors, if you want to look at pitches with specifically errors made on the play. Games, if you want to look at specific games that you have charted, or multiple games. Hit miss, so you have the ability to tag pitches as hitting the spot or missing the spot, and this is how you would filter for those. Hit methods and hit types. So in the second screen on the app when you're charting games is the ball in play screen, and within that you can choose how the batter made contact with the ball or how they swung, and then you can also choose how the ball travelled. Innings, you can filter based on individual innings. Outcome, so this is the pitch outcome. Was it an attempted bunt? Was it a ball on the batter, a called strike, foul ball, etc., etc.? How many outs at the time of the play, or alternatively, show me all the plays that the batter got out on, or the runner on first got out, runner on second, runner on third. Pitch numbers, I specifically use this for the at-bat. It's a really quick way of show me the first pitch that they threw in that at-bat. Pitch types, self-explanatory. You can filter on one, you can filter on multiple pitches. So just like the hitters one, we can filter for a specific pitcher. RBIs, so was 1 scored on the play, 2, 3, or 4. Runners on base, so we have 2 options, all as in whatever you tick, all of those conditions must be met, or any of the conditions must be met that you tick. Teams, so you can filter out on specific teams. You could use this in conjunction with a pitcher filter, so it might be show me how this pitcher pitched against this specific team or teams. And throwing hand, I use this when I'm analysing hitters, show me how this hitter matched up against specifically a left-handed pitcher or specifically a right-handed pitcher. The default value is both. Last but not least, let's go through some more data again. So you can filter based on a pitch in the vicinity. So once you click, it filters it for pitches in that kind of cluster. And then down the bottom, we also have our pitch transactions. So these can be clicked on and expanded to show a little bit more information. So in this scenario, Anastasia Bishop was facing Prunella Cola. She threw her a changeup. They were both right-handed. Bishop hit the ball with a long handle or a normal swing, and she got out. The batter got out running to first. It was Cola's 66th pitch of the game. It was in the 5th inning. It was a ground ball, and I recorded that play. So it tracks who recorded it, which for some people could be an important aspect of being a member of a tenancy with multiple users that can enter games. If runners advanced on the play, that would be signified by these being coloured in, or if there are any RBIs on the play, one of these 4 boxes would be coloured in also. Last but not least, we also have a cool little graph that you can see. So if I change that from a batter's one to a pitcher, it's a little bit more useful. This is just a really quick way to show how many of each pitch a pitcher is throwing. This pitcher that I've selected, Sarah Dickinson, she throws a lot of rice balls. So this is a very clear visual way to see that. If we flick back over to our spray chart, strike zone, you can probably make it out just as well here with the amount of R's because it is such a clear pattern, but at times this can just be another way to view it. It also helps shine through that her second most thrown pitch is her changeup, which could be something that is overlooked from the original view. So let's move on. So from that filtering, I like to use that just to get a bit of an idea of what I'm looking at and what the data is telling me. I will look for different scenarios. I like to just filter, and as I start to see things, I will activate more filters and add more things. I like looking at the transaction listing, seeing what the count was before the pitch, after the pitch, ordering it by entry date or time, and trying to see if I can see any really obvious trends between pitch type or throwing specific pitches on specific counts. Really, the options are endless. Sorry. So bookmarks exist just like in Safari, and you can save things that you like to look at frequently. Your naming convention is completely up to you. The one that I personally use is anything that I'm looking at from a batter's perspective. Put a B in front. From a pitcher's perspective, I have a P in front. In this scenario, it's from a pitcher's perspective, and I'm analysing left-handed batters and what this pitcher is throwing to them on their first pitch. And what it's done is it's just saved these settings in the filters, which makes it really easy for me to revisit this scenario, and all I need to do is just change the picture I'm analysing. From there, you can combine multiple of these bookmarks to create a report pack. So I have my template hitting scouting report pack and my pitcher one, and then I've also populated each of these into analysing a hitter and a pitcher, just so I can show you how that works. So the first hitter is that Anastasia Bishop that we were looking at earlier. So how you lay these out and what tabs you have is completely up to the end user. It just depends on what you like to look at personally. For this one, I've set up all pitches. I'm then culling it down to everything she's made contact with, which you can immediately see a really strong trend. Even though she's getting pitches both sides, inside and outside, she's still pulling the majority of that, and nothing's really going to right field. So what is she hitting and getting on base? So again, that pull trend is evident. Multi-base hits, swings and misses. What is she doing on a first pitch? So remember, blue is a called strike, black is ball, red is foul. So the majority of the time she's taking that first pitch. This batter is actually the leadoff in her team, so in some ways it's more of a traditional leadoff approach. What does she do with the changeup? So it's handy just to be able to cull out the noise and have a look at what she's doing on that pitch. She's striking out a lot. What pitch is she striking out on? So she's fairly good at putting the ball in play, it would seem. What does she do when she's ahead in the count? How aggressive is she? So you see a lot of colours, and they're on pitches that are theoretically within the zone. So when the count's in her favour and the pitch comes in, she's being aggressive on it. And then for a hitter, I like to look at what is she attacking with less than 2 strikes? What does she take with less than 2 strikes? And for this hitter, the trend becomes evident on a left-handed pitcher. So with less than 2 strikes, she's really attacking anything on the inside, which then matches up with less than 2 strikes. What pitches is she taking? You know, she's ignoring the high stuff, but she's also ignoring strikes on the outside of the plate. So if you had a left-handed pitcher, that's kind of set the scene a little bit for you there. The other thing within the report pack is you can add a summary or a narration, a little bit of text down here. I've populated some in my pitching one, so I will show you that actually, or in the hitters one. And so that's just an optional thing to do. It depends on personal preference again, but we developed this just that as a coach, not everyone's going to understand, or not all your players are going to understand what these reports are telling you. So the text box is just an easy way to hopefully link up a few ideas and explain what the picture might be telling you. So that pitching one, similar concept. I've just got a whole lot more tabs. Again, personal preference. I like to look at all pitches, chucked in a few graphs because it's just a really clean, easy way to see how many right balls she's throwing ahead of everything else. I like to see what she's throwing when she's ahead in the count versus when she's behind in the count. I like to see what she comes back with on left-handed batters versus when she's ahead on a left-handed batter also, versus I've got the righties showing separately. So I have them all in the one report. I just have them on different tabs because it's a cleaner picture. And then, as I mentioned earlier, got a little bit of text down here, very basic sentence for the point of demonstration, but this shows all 444 pitches that I've charted on Sarah. So from here, the cool part is that, so bookmarks are all those saved settings that you can re-pull through. Packs are combinations of bookmarks to create your scouting report pack. And then Vault is where you can export a report pack, and it kind of like publishes the report at that point. You can't really change or delete these tabs. You can't add new ones. So if we flick into there, look at this one on Sarah Dickinson, and it's just an established report. So there's no longer the ability to edit. All the tabs are sitting there. You can still flick through them, and there's still the text box, but now you can't edit it because that's only doable in the report packs. So this, as I mentioned, it's just that published view. Then you can go to print preview. We're very mindful that technology isn't currently allowed in the dugouts in a lot of different rules, under a lot of different rules. So we created a printable report that just gives a really nice picture of your strike zone and the corresponding spray chart for those settings. And it pulls through that text box that ideally you are using and helps to just set the scene a little bit more. So if you were to print that, you'd get each of these on its own page, and then obviously that can come with you into the dugout, and you can write all over that to your heart's content. So that really highlights everything that we have available right now on our chartIT dashboard. Obviously the reporting is really awesome, and you can see just how much time you can save from being able to filter things quite quickly, and also the opportunities and the trends that you can start to uncover. And although I showed you those report packs more from a scouting perspective, you could also rerun them on your own players and use them as an informative visual tool to explain to your players the opportunities they have for improvements in their specific areas. That hitter that we looked at, it might be, you know, we need to work more on ensuring that on outside pitches we go with the ball really well, rather than this really strong trend we have of pulling it. Whatever the story may be, the opportunity behind the reporting makes a little bit of a no-brainer in terms of just how far you can take it. So that brings us to the conclusion of our reporting and our dashboard, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions or certain scenarios can be run, by all means, please contact me. Our contact details are on our website, chartIT.com, and down here there's our email address, info@chartIT.com. I will receive that, so I will happily reply and give you a little bit more information. Thanks for listening.